Well, hello, hello, hello. I'm to Knapp. Happy Thursday night. I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Michael Gross.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm excited that you're here. Something I really will enjoy sharing with you. It's very
Uh,
apropos for what's happening at this time.
Michael is phenomenal. He channels the messages that he shares with us. And what we're going to do is we're going to welcome everybody on board and respect him as he channels. So we'll hold on the questions and the comments toward the end. But Michael, I'm sure will give me a chance to read all your comments. So feel free to put them in the chat, okay? I will also put Michael's contact info and all that information will also be in the comments, okay? So that you'll be able to reach out to Michael at any time that's convenient for you. I will go ahead really quick and give a brief introduction. Most of you who know Michael Gross, he's the author of the Spiritual Primer. Dr. Michael Gross, I'm sorry, I should have said that. He's the author of the Spiritual Primer, applying God's 12 transformational laws to reawaken your soul by reconnecting to God, the true source, to experience your true source's love, joy, and happiness. He helps you achieve your unlimited life. And truly, 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 I am blessed and incredibly grateful that he's does that for all of us, and how he's changed my life, and just the work that we've done together in the few short years that we've been together is phenomenal. And I'm truly, truly blessed and grateful, Michael, that you're in my life. I believe you're just the
Thank you.
greatest gift. Okay. For over 30 years, Michael has been a spiritual teacher, a multidimensional healer, a transformational coach who is exceptionally skilled in all aspects of soul. That's Rex, his dog. And Rex agrees with me totally, Michael, that you are the best, okay? Michael also knows uh, all, all aspects of soul, oversoul, vibrations, frequencies, body timing, life force energies, and more. So, without going into a whole list of accolades for Michael, which I truly do deeply do appreciate your time with us tonight, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself out, put his contact information in the chat, and feel free to leave your comments. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that we acknowledge all of them before we leave. But we're going to let Michael go ahead and begin. His topic today is the illusions of life, part one. I can't wait for this.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I was asking the true source, what should I channel? As you can see, we're live. We don't rehearse anything. And my dog Rex wanted to put in his 2 cents. Actually, he's guarding and protecting the place, which is great. That's what he sees his job, and I'm just petting him now. But I want to talk about the illusions of life and part one. The reason I'm addressing this is because there's a major shift that's going on this planet. And the major shift on the planet is raising our vibrations and energies. And it's also a transformational energy that's going to be continuing for the next 8 years, or approximately years. And of course, whenever there's a transformation, it means we got to let go of old things and old belief systems, and to, like a blackboard, clean the slate and then turn around and begin anew. So consider yourself as an artist, sculptor, or whatever, with a blank canvas or a piece of wood or some marble, and you're resculpting and designing your life. This is really wonderful. However, with that being said, is that we have to face some of our fears and doubts. And that's why I'm talking about the illusions of life, part one. Really, what does that mean? Well, we come in with a belief system, and the belief system is created by our families, friends, relatives, religiosity, and so on and so forth. And we adopt their belief system and because we're kind of naive at that point. And we believe our parents are loving and caring and mean the best most of the time. We believe that. And I chuckle a little bit. There's a point in time where we'll be a little argumentative towards our parents or whoever our teachers are. I would like to get back to the point that when you are born, you go through the birth canal, you have a host of angels that you've collected over your lifetime that are with you. You have a guardian angel or multiple guardian angels, depending upon the work you're going to do. And the reason you may have more than one guardian angel is because of the work you're going to do, the spiritual work and human work. You need extra protection because you'll be doing things that are rather challenging and could be dangerous. You know, whether you're a police person or in the military, or perhaps a scientist, or even a channeler like I am, or whatever it may be. And then around the age of 3, more or less, you have the veil of forgetfulness, because prior to that age, you're talking to your guides and angels, so on and so forth. And you really know what you came here for. And the veil of forgetfulness descends upon you around the age of 3 again, because if you knew what your life was going to be, and you go, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I'll just come back and do it over again. With the veil of forgetfulness, it's like everything is new, even though it's an old pattern. And if we understand that, with the veil of forgetfulness is where there's some karma. So what is karma? Karma is nothing but an experience, and I want to reiterate that. So we break down karma into 2 types. We have dharma with a D. Let's say that's something, a reward and joy and happiness, or something you've done in the past, like Mother Teresa. She'll have a lot of dharma when she reincarnates, and a very joyous life if she shows desires and choose that. And then the law of karma means nothing but an experience. Really gets a bad rap, you know. But truly, we all come in here with both dharma, karma, whatever it may be, to understand what we have created and had others experience that could be challenging or rewarding. But here we are, as I'm readdressing everything in our younger life and looking at the illusions of life. And there are so many illusions, like you're not worthy, you're not smart enough, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that, so on and so forth. But if we understand with the illusions of life, you know, I meet so many parents and they want to relocate or move, but they can't because their daughter or son or whatever, they're going to lose their friends, they're complaining their friendship, so on and so forth. Well, I'd like to share when I was growing up. My father worked for various companies and he was transferred around to various cities. And I never thought I'm going to lose the friends or whatever. It was just, we move and we do that. And I look back on that and I said, what a wonderful experience, because it forced me to make friends. It forced me to get out and meet new people. It forced me to be gregarious, like speaking a lot. It forced me to look at life and meet all kinds of people from various life. Some of my friends ended up owning a chain of budget rent-a-cars. One, I believe, is a bishop right now. Another one that I believe owned 3 or 4 gas stations. Some went on to be a scientist. Some went on to be doctors and lawyers. But we all did different things. And we did horrible things. We played war, and we played cowboys and Indians, and we had cap guns. But we all knew that was an illusion. Guns didn't really kill. And I remember in the old days, and I'm not talking pro-gun, but I'm talking the old days, the big thing that our fathers loved to watch were cowboys. And I remember they would go bang in the air, and the guy would, and he'd fall over, and we knew that wasn't real. But somehow in the illusions of life, it's taking on a different connotation. Taking on a different connotation is taking on a different belief system. So if we turn around and look at things and we say, baseball bats are bad because you can kill somebody or hurt somebody, what are we really doing by saying that? And the answer is, you're taking a baseball bat that you would use to, hit a baseball or maybe a hockey stick to hit a hockey puck, and now you turn it into a weapon in danger. You've given a new terminology to something that is just a useful play or a toy and something you can enjoy. Now, granted, some people may use it for negative purposes, but generally what we've done is label all these things. And we talk about Dr. Seuss being horrible and Bugs Bunny being shot with a shotgun in the cartoons. We all knew it wasn't real, but what gave it life is those around us that turned around and made it real, made it threatening. And think about that. So here we are, we're making it threatening, whether the items I just discussed or whether your belief system. And part of your belief system is that you're a victim, so you become a victim. Instead of saying, well, you're not really a victim, you're learning new things. As the true source said to me, There's no such thing as failure. Failure is positive. I said, well, the connotation of failure means negative. No, 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 Michael. You learn what worked and didn't work. How are you going to learn anything? In other words, when you're not going to learn something, you try it and it didn't work. Didn't you gain knowledge? Didn't you understand? One led to another, led to another, led to another, and you finally became successful. And I remember riding a bike and they had training wheels. And you take off the training wheels and you fell or skinned your knees or whatever. Oh my gosh. But you learn how to ride the bicycle. Or ice skating. I did ice skating. Sometimes I ice skated on my ankles, but I learned how to ice skate. And then we had roller skating. Some remember the roller skating keys. So we learned all these things. Yeah, we skinned our knees. Yes, we hurt ourselves. But we learned to pick ourselves up and go. And we didn't learn to, oh, pity me, I can't do this. It's frightening. But, my parents said, oh, you skin yourself, you learned. It's okay. We all do that, blah, blah, blah. You get up and do it again. You get up and do it again. And finally you master it. So the illusions of life is, what can't you master? Where do your belief system comes in? It all starts at a younger age. All of us are brainwashed to believe a certain way, whether it's in education or family or friends. Is it correct for us? Some of it is. No, don't run out the street, Michael, without looking both ways to watch out for cars. Okay, well, that's really positive. Did I feel I was in danger, a car was going to hit me? No, I said, oh, in danger, I got to protect myself. But if my parents said, if you run out and don't look, you're going to get killed or hit by a car, it would become a fear. Languaging is so important and so powerful. And that's one thing we need to understand. So the illusions of life, one thing with one person is a bad thing, and the next thing to another person is really wonderful. I remember living in Vermont, and we went horseback riding, bareback riding. Did we have a helmet? No, we were on the horses. We fell off, we got back on. It was just amazing. And I learned also how to do maple syrup in Vermont, when the maple trees, and how to punch a hole and get maple syrup, and you boil it to get it thick. And then you throw some of it in the snow and you had maple syrup, candy, and you would chew on. A lot of sugar. Today they would say that was awful. But that was the natural things we did. And that's what we need to get back to. And that is that not everything is frightening or danger. I see parents today, when they drop kids off, they make sure the home is right. I get it. And they make sure everything is perfect. They make play dates. And, my day, they would say, go out and play with your friends. I don't know. So you'd knock on the door at Jane home, Johnny home, or whatever, and you would meet a group of friends. And then, of course, you got interested in Little League and baseball, Babe Ruth League, and so on and so forth. All these things we had. And if we wanted money, we got a little allowance for doing chores, which taught us if we want something, we have to work for it and the value of the money. And I had a big paper route, had over 150 newspapers to deliver, and I had to walk 45 minutes, a half an hour to 45 minutes to deliver it when I couldn't use my bike in the winter. But you just got out and did it. Because, if you wanted something, you had to work for it. Now, there's nothing so bad in working for it. When you give something a large sum of money or you give somebody something, they don't appreciate it. But when you earn it, you take care of it and you appreciate it. And that is what's so important. So the illusions of life, really, what is that? The illusions of life is that we are being spoiled by our parents and family and friends. We don't have a value system. Our system is we're being taken care of, we're going to be spoiled, and we have nothing to worry about. Well, that's a beautiful thing you do as a parent. But you know what? What happens when your parents aren't around? Who's going to bail you out? Who's going to help you? And that's so important. I remember when I went to work, my first job at 16, my father said, listen, you've got to show up every day that you're supposed to work. You can't call in sick and say, I don't want to work, because other people are depending upon you. And you owe it to the manager or owner of the store, whatever it is, to work diligently and do the right thing. Yeah, we had breaks. We had dinner breaks. We had luncheon breaks. Yeah, we did all those things. However, that is exactly what happened. You were taught responsibility. You weren't, and you know, my day when we said, why do I have to do it? My father and mother said, because I said so. And then if you said something, you got whack. Okay. Today, if you threaten to hit a child, even mildly, they can report you and somebody will put you in jail and you have to go through all this stuff because it happened to a very good friend of mine. His daughter was cutting classes and he said, you're going to get a spanking. And she cut classes and she ran over to the neighbor. My father's beating me, and the police arrested him. He had to go through all kinds of mental, um, what do I want to say, mental work and understanding it and all kinds of mental therapy and so on and so forth. It's like, and the child lied. And later on, after he went through all that, a year later, she admitted she lied. These are the things that are going on. And most importantly, what do we need to teach ourselves, no matter what age you are, or you're a child, but I'm talking about your early years. And that is to teach that you are to be honest, think things through, and everything you do, there is a relationship and there's a cause and effect. Even now, there's a cause and effect. If you lie or cheat, you're going to be caught in this lying and cheating. But right now, with the energy on the planet, I don't know what country you are. I have clients in foreign countries, not in every country. Well, we're going through in the United States. Every country is going through similar, politically, family wise, and so on and so forth. It's going through. And I want to talk about the illusions of life to realize that you are the creator of your life, your belief system. And the illusion is that if you're not good enough and you can't manifest or create something, then you'll never be successful in life, whether you're 10 years old or you're 80 years old. You know, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, I think was his name. And I read when he was 80 years old, he went around talking about his wonderful chicken. And finally, Kentucky Fried Chicken. He didn't give up at age 80. Unbelievable what happened. So, and then we look at Ray Clark, Kroc, who has started McDonald's and so on and so forth. Today is a time we have the opportunity to brush aside the old. Well, how do you brush aside the old? The illusion of the fear and doubt you grew up with, no matter what age you are. You are given that opportunity easily and effortlessly, more so than any other time of your life, to heal and release it. How do you do that? Well, most importantly, if you have an opposition mentally, physically, or emotionally. If you don't release it, guess what? You're going to have high blood pressure, you're going to have diabetes, you're going to have some kind of an ailment. Because you see, all illness, all start with the body being dis at ease, which causes the body to be dis ease, which causes a disease. Show me any person with any kind of affliction and give me a little time with them, and we'll go back to what happened with an emotion. Now, there are other people that are doing it. I'm not the only one. Truly, it has to be with our illusion in life. Therefore, if you feel that you can never achieve success or you can't do that, that's an illusion. And if you look at many, many people back in the 1600s, they were made fun of or whatever, but they had this belief system and it changed everything. And some of the most successful souls were minorities and they became very famous in the work that they did. You know, we look at Amazon, and it started off with a book, you know, online, Kindle, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew. But the illusion of the bean counters, as I call them, accountants, they said to Sears and Roebuck, oh, well, catalogs are too expensive for us to do, and we can save a lot of money. And of course, what they did is they cut it out. Yeah, they cut it out everything. Guess what? What the heck is Amazon, right? It's a mail order house, the same thing that Sears did. And did you know at times with Sears and Roebuck, you could buy a house and it would come in parts, and it was like you put the parts together because they were numbered. And I visited one of those houses, and they call them craftsman houses because that's one of the names that Sears and Roebuck used. And it was already over 100 years old and still standing there strong. Needed a paint job, but that's beside the point. And this was in Montana that I saw them. So just think about that. The illusion is you can't or cannot do this. That's an illusion. Anything you desire to be successful at, your relationships, your families, your friends, your health. We all heard of wonderful healings. I remember my son-in-law was talking about a friend of his who had MS, and he just couldn't barely walk. And one day he went to church and they did a prayer. You're going to be healed. He said the prayer, and like he got up in the middle, I'm healed, and walked out, never went back to the church, never went back to the religion. And I went, that was me. I'd be there every day that I got healed. But the important thing is, whatever that pastor said, something about an emotion, he realized it and released it. So the illusion that we're going to be sick or ill, or the person's going to have cancer, or dementia, or Alzheimer's, or even arthritis, or whatever, if it's going to be limiting, that's an illusion because you're buying into it. As a gerontologist, for those of you, I have several degrees in gerontology, which is a study of the elderly, and they did autopsies on the elderly. Now, everybody supposedly at a certain age began to have arthritis. So they discovered that in some of the elderly, they had a severe arthritis, but they walked normally. They were never crippled. They never had a problem. Why? Because in their mind, they said, nope, this is not going to be debilitating. I'm just checking the time. So this is so wonderful, but I want to share one other story. We may run 5 minutes over. And that is, a client came to me and her hands were all like this. And she was the head of a private school. And I talked to her and said, you are a control freak. Yes, I can't trust anybody. So I'm working with her, and it took 5 or 6 sessions. Her fingers straightened out and she did fine. She was doing wonderful. And she was back to normal. Then something happened in school and she became a control freak again. And she came back, her hands were like this. So again, we cleared it. Third time, I said, you're wasting your time and your money because you want to control. And because you are, you see how it's affecting your hands and the way you think. I don't know what happened to her, but it was a lesson for her to learn. Stop being in control and being in the flow. So I want all of you to stay tuned, figuratively speaking, because we're going to be covering more and more of part 2 of the illusions of life. But before I continue, do we have any comments or anything?
Me too, Michael. And I really I appreciate your topic today. It's helping me get a greater understanding as well, because I used to be a control freak too. and more, but let's go here. We've got a couple of beautiful comments that I don't see any questions, but I see comments. Okay.
Sure. I don't know if you can hear my squeaky chair, but
okay, here we go. I put your contact information in. Oopies. Hold on. No, hide. That was Michael's contact info, but it's here in the comments. Okay. I'll keep on moving down, scrolling down here. Darshan said, I must have had more than one guardian angel because of how my life was saved 9 weeks ago. And for those of you who don't know, Darshan was in a very, very serious automobile accident where his vehicle rolled over. And yeah, I agree with him. What do you think, Michael?
Yes, you are very blessed. And if I were you, I would give you your guardian angels a raise and a little vacation. And a free set of Ginsu knives for all their work.
Perfect. Mary is also here, and she says hello. Then Darshan said, Mary said hello to everybody. And it was funny because she came in as an ID number and I had to ask who it was. And she goes, oops, I'm in the wrong place. I mean, not in the wrong place, but the wrong link. Yeah. So that was kind of cute. Darshan also wrote, our mistakes are a blessing for sure. An illusion or a delusion, it is all made up. It's all made up. So if we can get that, my apologies. So if we can get that we make it all up, what would we make up?
That's
Right?
true. Yes.
And that's where we are right now on that. And I have a question for you. Okay.
Sure.
I know we don't have much time, but when we realize that we're, I know that, when you were talking earlier that we were brainwashed to believe all kinds of things growing up when we were kids and, all that mumbo jumbo, I can just encapsulate it that way. When we realize that those are certain behavior patterns that we have, and you tell us to let go of that, to release it, why is it that we continue to pick that doggone behavior back up?
Well, just as oversimplification, we can cover that at the next session. However, 94% of your thinking comes from your subconscious mind. 6% comes from the conscious mind. And what is happening is until you release a belief system, it's like an old tape or information that plays over and over and over again because you haven't fully released it. So I'm going to take the opportunity and say your brain is like a computer, okay? So understanding, your computer, your hard disk. And so when we talk about your subconscious mind, that's information that goes into your hard disk, which is part of your operating system. So that would be the first one. Then the next part is when you have all this information in the subconscious mind, it goes to the cloud. And after the cloud, you have new information and thoughts coming in. So we call that new software. And that software goes in, becomes part of the hard disk, which then becomes part of the cloud. And the last part about it is what we call when you have a problem. And the technical term is that, what is the term when they say you catch a virus? That's the word. So the virus would be your ego or false belief system. So think of your brain in those measurements. The software that you have on the hard disk or in the cloud, you keep accessing over and over and over and over again. And if you keep doing that, then you're always going to be stuck because you're always comparing the past with the present. And it's instantaneous. The example I use, would you like to have a hot fudge sundae? Yep, right away. But, if you want a hot fudge sundae with sauerkraut, jalapeno peppers, and ghost peppers and kimchi, you go, heck no, because you know what it tastes like. But you see, you access that so instantaneously, milliseconds. So we're going to talk on our next time, how do we eliminate that subconscious thought that we keep reviewing that's limiting over and over again. So again, tune in for part 2.
Sounds perfect. Thank you. I definitely want to come back for part 2. Okay. For those of you who don't know, we'll go into a little bit more, but Dr. Michael Gross offers a complimentary consultation and he has some other announcements to make. So I'm going to go ahead and let you continue with that. Okay.
Thank you. So the complimentary consultation is for new people. Could be a half an hour, a little bit longer. No, I'm not going to try to sell you or convince you of anything. Just share information. And I usually end up, if I can be of any help, please let me know. Period. What I want to share with you or desire to share with you is that every Tuesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, I have what I call Soul Awakening. And that's where you come in and you ask questions. Hopefully I can answer them and leave a 10-minute message. So it's pretty clear, pretty easy. And even if you think you know it all, maybe you forgot something, and I'll remind you of something. And then at the end, I leave a 10-minute message, a motivational message. Well, this is done on freeconferencecall.com. It is free. And as I jokingly say, you can be in your pajamas, I'll never know. And Tio, give them that information, how they can access us.
I'd be happy to. That number is 202-926-1059. And the access code, Michael?
125446 pound. One more time, please.
202-926-1059. And the code, Michael?
125446 #. Now, I want to share that with all of you because using the same telephone number, okay, the same code to enter into whatever I'm doing on the second Saturday of every month from 9:55 a.m. to 11:01 a.m. It is called Soul Healing. And so sometimes I call it conscious healing. I call it changing the energy and vibrations on the planet, but it's really a pet project of mine. And this pet project of mine is healing all the inhabitants on the planet and their souls, including you and I. So this consciousness healing to make a difference, because you see, we are here to make a difference on this planet, and we are the solution, and we are the ones that are bringing about this healing on this planet. Right now, I'm sure you're all aware of the hurricanes, tornadoes, potential tsunamis, volcanoes, earthquakes. So much is going on. And I truly believe Mother Earth is going through a rebirth and she's cleansing herself. But whether you believe that or not, bringing in this beautiful healing love, and it touches you and touches everything on this planet, we are making a difference. It's a pet project of mine. And what you do is you come on and tell us who you are, and we chat for a couple of minutes. And then 5 minutes later, we begin and we're in silence. And about 3 or 4 minutes before we end, usually I play some music and I thank you all, but you'll have the most exciting, loving experience you have ever had. Therefore, I invite all of you to help us in this mass consciousness healing of everything on this planet. And it's the same access code and telephone number. Would you give that one more time?
I'd be happy to, Michael. This mass consciousness healing that you do is truly an incredible experience when we feel the energy of the love that when we all come together. So definitely that number is 202-926-1059. And again, Michael, the access code?
125446 #. So that's the same access code. Now, as I alluded to, on the Tuesday evening, I give a 10-minute message. And there are two ways you can access it. One, you can go to YouTube, Dr. Michael B. Gross, and I'm not the urologist, so go there. And you will see little motivational messages and pictures. And they are rather limited, but sometimes when you want to see a beautiful photograph by an award-winning photographer, Tia Knapp, and there'll be a motivational thought, and you'll hear an audio message. Or what you can do is on your phone, you call a number which we're going to give you, and it starts at number 3 and goes up to 397 or 98. And you're probably wondering, well, what's the one for me to listen to? And about a year ago, I was talking to the True Source, said, oh my gosh, I forgot to label each one of these 10-minute motivational thoughts. True Source said, no, you didn't. You want to read through 390 plus different labels? No, I don't have the patience. So tell them all to trust their soul. Whatever number comes up, I think I should listen to number 241. Then I get a phone call. Just what I needed to hear, Michael. So trust that. You're stuck in traffic, you're angry, you're alone. You got a lot of them to listen to, and they will change your life. So you give them that information, how they can access that.
Absolutely. That number is 434-300-4170. And the access code, Michael?
125446 #. One more time.
434-300-4170. And the code, Michael?
125446 #. So I want to thank all of you for doing that. Also, I have a nonprofit called the International Institute of Self-Empowerment. It was something that Spirit had me formulate, and it's got 12 arms. And I've appointed Tia Knapp as director of emotional abuse. We're coming out with a little book I'll keep you posted. We're about 4 to 6 weeks away, but this is called a teaser, so just so you can have something to look forward to. Well, I want to thank all of you and talk about something that's very important. What I'm talking about is this beautiful book called Healing the Holes in Your Soul by Tio Knapp. It's a beautiful book. It's about rising from the ashes like the mythological phoenix back into life. It is beautiful, and I like the guy that wrote the foreword. Everyone, this is an emotional book that will heal you, give you great insight, and you'll be impressed how strong and all the difficult things that Tio Knapp had overcome. It is a must reading.
Thank you, Michael. I truly appreciate your wisdom and your comments. And definitely, he wrote the foreword in that book. And I highly encourage everybody to start here with this one, The Spiritual Primer by the amazing Dr. Michael Gross. Because if it wasn't for this book and this incredible man sitting next to me, the book he's holding wouldn't even be in existence. He encouraged me to share my story, and I think about it now. I think about how there were times I didn't know how to go about it. So he kept telling me, well, just start in the middle. It's okay. You can fill in the blanks later.
Yep.
But he truly changed my life. And in my heart of hearts, I know that this book that I'm holding is priceless to me. There is no greater gift than what you do for all of us. Okay, Michael?
Thank you.
And right now, the only way to get Michael's book and is to contact him directly. Its contact information is in there. You can always send him a private message in Messenger. But definitely, if you reach out to either one of us, we will definitely put a personal inscription inside your book just for you. So on that note, I give thanks to you, Michael, every day for the rest of my life that you came into my life. I honor you. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, if you have a chance, everyone, check out my website, small case, no period, drmichaelgross.com. If you have a chance, please check that out. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us, for giving up your valuable time to make a difference. And although we didn't have a huge amount of people, the replay has been very big. So I want to remind all of you that you are unlimited and that you can create anything you so desire. Thank you all. Have a great week. Namaste.
Namaste. We love you.
We love you. Take care.
Good night.